crafty friends, and welcome back. This is Jenny from Polly's Paper Studio. I have a project to share today that's kind of a follow-up on my Halloween mini album, and there was such an amazing response to that. So many of you asked for a tutorial. I decided that it would be fun to recreate that mini but in a Thanksgiving theme instead of Halloween. So I did that, and then I'll just show you my recreated album. At the end of the video, we'll have a tutorial, and I'll show you how I created the base for this book. It's very simple. It is similar to ones I have made in the past, but there's just a little twist on it, and it makes it more unique and fun to create the hidden pages. So I am using the Authentique collection Gracious, and it is just that. It is absolutely gorgeous. There are beautiful vintage pattern papers, the lovely images, and such a good variety. I was able to really work in many of these patterns. They all work so well together, and it was just so much fun to pull and mix and match these. So for the cover, I picked the plaid, which will surprise no one because that's what I do. And that is just a background. I layered on a die-cut doily. These are images and sentiments from the 12 by 12 die-cut sheet, the element sheet. And so I chose the ones that I wanted to coordinate my embellishments to. So these lovely fall children are playing with the leaves, and that gave me the inspiration to go with the greens and the browns and the reds. So I picked the stripe to coordinate with that, and then I've layered on some beautiful flowers. These are from Really Reasonable Ribbons. So these are chrysanthemums, some open roses, and here's rosebuds as well. I mixed in some die-cut foliage and leaves. That just helps to build the fullness of the arrangement, and then some little loopy twine bows because it's just a nice, lovely natural element. I got a couple of buttons here. These are vintage, and they come from a nice little shop downtown. I've got some metal charms here as well, and it's a leaf and a sunflower, and I think that works so well for a fall inspired book. It does say give thanks, but it is really more fall inspired than just Thanksgiving. I've got this tied up now with some more beautiful trim here, and you can mix as many plaids as makes you happy, and I tend to mix a lot of them. So I went for this one because it had a beautiful kind of burgundy red in it, and I thought that was really nice and warm and rich, and it coordinated very well. So this ties up the book, and that creates the closure so that you can keep everything inside secure. And then, like the Halloween book, I do have those tip-ins. So instead of tipping them out like in the Halloween book, I wanted to keep them going inward because that's gonna build a little bit of extra structure to the outside of the book and make it a little more sturdy. These are the full-size cut apart images. Now, I've used the same matting all the way throughout so that I know it's all gonna coordinate, and that really makes the process of getting all these layers prepared to add to the book so easy because they're all going to be the same measurement. So you can just cut as many as you need, and you don't have to go back and remeasure and do all those things. It's just really simple. So there are images on the front of these tip-ins, and then I do like to add a neutral on the back so that you can include your journaling and add your memories and keep them tucked behind here. And so this is the antique lace from Spectrum cardstock. That is also from Authentique paper. And then I picked this really sweet pattern. It is not a very small pattern, but it will fit beautifully. This book is 4 by 6 inches, and it has lovely leaves, acorns, and mushrooms, and I think that is so woodland inspired. It's just absolutely perfect. And then, so your first tip in will go out, and then your second tip in, which are the full page ones, they go out as well. Look how much plaid I got in there. And then also here are some die cut frames that's cut from the cardstock color. It's just a very dark mauvey wine color. It's I didn't want to go brown because I thought that would make it too dark, but I think this really plays off of all the other pattern papers so well. I used the offcut from the other side of the page and traced around the inside of this die once I had the outside cut, and that's just a good way to get the shape that will match perfectly without having to have the stacks layers. So I also included some elements from that die cut sheet again, and there are some leaves that are cut from glitter paper, just alternated the darker brown with the orange, and a very flat, you have to keep all of the inside elements very flat, daisy type flower, and I cut those again from the offcuts from creating the book, so that wasn't creating extra waste. I just get all of the die cut flowers out of what I can when I'm cutting cardstock. The center of this is cut from the plaid from the front cover. I just used a 1/2 inch hole punch for that, and so that gives it a nice finished detail. And then I alternated the sides. So on this left hand side you got 2 of the plaid pages in a frame with the flower arrangement. On this side I put the arrangement at the top, and that is so you're not creating double the bulk in one area. You see how this is at the top and this one is at the bottom. That way this will close flat and not create any unfortunate bulges that occur when you've put too many layers in and not given yourself enough room. So between the center pages I have 1/4 inch, and then these are just scored and folded. Now look how there's plenty of room once you fold that up for all those layers to sit flat, so they're not getting bent out of shape and wonky. This is the next set of pages. So you see here's one full set and then a second full set on this side. More of the cut apart images and pairs. I wouldn't normally go and consider that to be fall exactly, but I think it looks beautiful paired with the pattern on the larger pages here. It's got squashes and lovely sunflowers and leaves, and so I think that works perfectly. More of that neutral on the back. Give yourself as much space to add writing as you can, because you don't want to run out of room to add the memories that go with your pictures. So this is another full page tip in on that, and I just put an alternating pattern so it isn't quite as flourishy. This has a larger photo mat. You can put bigger pictures on here, and then I just top this simply with more of the elements from that die cut sheet. So I really utilized that to get many details that were flat so that my book will fold properly. And like I did for the other pages, I did alternate those so that I'm not creating all the bulk in one place. Okay, so here's the secret flip page. You've got one here and then one here, and you're going to flip that whole book over. Notice while I'm doing that the back is finished with the coordinating paper from the front. You do really want to cover the back so that it's got a nice finished detail all the way around. And so your last set of pages, Sneaky, opens from this side, and there's just a simple layering of the pattern paper. This is offcut again from the pattern on the other side, so I didn't create lots of extra stash paper. I want to be able to get it used up because it's absolutely gorgeous. And so here's another doily that is cut from the antique lace. So it has that beautiful detail and it isn't so contrasting. That way, when you see that white flower, it really does look like an additional layer. It doesn't all blend together. And then more of that stripe. So I just used a circle die and cut that out and layered that on. Now this is a very sweet photo mat with a flower and some more leaves. And then I loved this saying from the die cut sheet, and I wanted to get it to fit in. Now this, like I said, is only 4 by 6 inches. So I wound up cutting off the stripes on the side, and I cut it to fit perfectly into the matting. So it will still have a nice border, and it has that striped detail on the top and bottom. And now I can have that whole sentiment. Even though this is a smaller book and this is a larger tag, it still works really well together. And then I've just tucked in an extra piece of that neutral for more writing, so don't forget to add those neutrals. Okay, so when this is closed, you can wrap that ribbon around and tie up the back. That secures the back, and then put your nice large poofy bow on the side, and this will be all set to fill with your fall and Thanksgiving memories. Wouldn't it make a nice gift? I think if you had a grandparent or an aunt and uncle, you could put pictures of the kiddos in here, or if you celebrated your holiday together, document all the everyday occurrences. Don't just make it the holiday stuff, make it breakfast or going out shopping. Just make sure to include all of the memories that you've made together, so that it's really a special keepsake for whoever you give it to, or give it to yourself and have it in your home so that you can flip back through and enjoy those special moments with your family. Okay, so let's get on to the tutorial. I'm going to use white cardstock for the book base. You could use whatever you like, whatever matches your project. I do like to use the cardstock matting, so I think that white works perfectly because then you know the whole book will match all the way through. So I've got 65-pound weight cardstock here, and you could use 110-pound if you wanted, but you saw how many layers that the finished book had, and it is so sturdy and thick and heavy that I think the 65-pound weight works absolutely perfectly. So I've got 3 pieces here. They are cut 6 inches wide by 8 1/4 inch long, and I'm going to come in and show you my score lines. This is super easy because I want my book to be 4 inches. I'll have to make my first score at 4 inches, and then I want to leave enough room between those pages to accommodate the bulk of all those layers. So my next score line is going to be at 4 1/4. So now I've got 4 inches on either side and 1/4 inch in the middle. There are 3 of those, and then I'm gonna have 4 of, I only have 2 down here because it's pretty easy to keep following that same pattern. They are 6, again, that's 6 inches and 8 inches this time instead of 8 1/4. You want to score that at 4, and we'll fold that in half, and that will become your full page tip-in. So go ahead and fold that, and then crease that with your bone folder so that you get a nice crisp edge. Do that for all of those pieces. I'll just do that again here for the one with the 1/4 inch center. And so what you want to do is line these up. So you want it to open like a traditional book, so that will open toward the left. And then you want to add your second piece in and attach it here. So you created a Z and use your double-sided adhesive tape or wet adhesive, whatever you like to work with. And now your third piece is going to be attached here. So you're extending that and you've made yourself an M. So you'll have your first page that opens and then the thicker center point and the second page that opens here. So I'll just take a minute and pull the adhesive and attach these together so you can see how that works. So here's the base, and I've got those three larger pieces attached. So I've got the first fold, the second fold, and then the secret page will be on the back. So why don't we put in those full size page tip-ins now. You'll want to do this before you add any of your layers, just to make it easier on yourself to get everything lined up right. And it does work so perfectly because everything is the same dimensions. I find it easier to start here where it creases so that I don't accidentally run over that crease line and cause a problem when I go to fold it up. So line that up carefully and seal that on. Do the same with this page. You want to flip your book over now so that you can make sure to get this page going in the right direction because you want them to open apart. So line that up with that score line and just press it into place. So you've got your first set of pages that have full-size tip-ins. And then if you want to, you can add the second tip-in, and that is adhered underneath your first cardstock layer. So you can do that for this first set and the second set and the third set if you like. And that will give you so much extra real estate in this small book. So basically you are adding 4 pages of real estate for each 2 pages that you have on your mini album book base. So that is all for this tutorial. I hope that you are inspired to create your own. I've got, this is my second one of the day. I'm going to maybe work on a Christmas mini album tomorrow if I can get time, and that way I can continue working with this fun book base. So thank you everyone who requested this tutorial, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave me a comment and give me a thumbs up, and if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.